Is my budgie too fat? What can a budgie weigh? And how do I get my beepers? Hello and welcome to Wellness and Happiness Birdie's channel. Is your budgie too fat? Or is it? This is often not so easy to see. Sometimes it fluffs up its feathers and looks like a plush ball. Sometimes it makes itself long and thin. Then there are larger budgies and smaller ones. Some with more and some with smooth feathers. How much can a budgie weigh? As a normal weight, the color Budgerigar between 30 and 40 grams. The normal one between 35 and 45 grams. The semi-standard between 45 and 55 grams. The standard between 50 and 65 grams. And the show Budgerigar between 55 and 70 grams. Anything below that is too little, everything above that is too much. There is no difference between females and males. Anything below that is too little, everything above that is too much. Of course, you also have to look at the overall picture of the physique, and cannot rely only on the scales. If your budgie's chest is rounded and firm and the sternum is still noticeable, it has the right weight. If the sternum protrudes pointedly, it is too thin. If the breast is plump and round and forms a crevice above the sternum, it is too thick. Our living room budgies tend to get too fat quickly. They have good things in abundance and don't fly nearly as much as a wild budgie. Obesity can cause the budgie to develop lipomas. These are benign fatty tumors under the skin that can become very large. Often the only thing that helps is surgical removal. There may also be liver dysfunction, bunion ulcers, increased beak or claw growth, and inability to fly. If the budgie is too fat, it has to lose weight. To do this, you first have to weigh it. Yes, but how do I get my bird on the scales? The best thing to do is to get an accurate letter or gold scale, which you can set to tare, and where the automatic switch off can be switched off. Affiliate links to a suitable scale can be found in the description. In tame parakeets, place a stick or millet on the scales and place it on tare, so that it subtracts the weight of the millet or stick and stands at 0. Then you just put the parakeets on the millet and you have the weight. As well as here, with my little goldfinch, who was thrown out of the nest in a storm, and whom I then raised by hand to save his life. Today, the little peep flies freely in the forest again. With semi-tame parakeets, you can make or buy a weighing device. A slightly raised perch on which you can put them with the stick taxi, or a frame made of branches and toys that they know to take away their fear. With a little training and patience, it works. However, there are also total objectors such as my burr parakeets. Since they always get their beloved green fodder on the cage roof, I simply put the scales under the usual feeding plate. So I can weigh one after the other comfortably, without stress. Well, sometimes there are 2 or 3 on the plate. You need a little patience. If all this does not work, you can also weigh them in a transport box or in a transport cage. You then have to subtract the weight of the box from the total weight, and you know how heavy the beeper is. However, they would first have to be caught, which could severely shake the trust that may have already been gained. Most of the time, poor nutrition is to blame for obesity. Most feed mixtures from the trade contain honey and bakery byproducts. These are pure fatteners. The snack sticks also usually contain sugar or honey and are therefore unsuitable. I therefore only buy food mixtures that do not contain it. Sunflower seeds and nuts contain a lot of fat and calories and should therefore only be given from time to time. Sweets, biscuits, and food from the table are taboo for Budgies and Co. Per bird, 10 g of grain food per day is calculated. Hens often tend to become fat because they are constantly fed by their overzealous rooster. Sometimes, even 2 roosters feed a hen. What can be done to get the fat beeper back to its normal weight? Starving as with humans is not possible. Budgies and Co. have a very fast metabolism and would very soon be undersupplied. Therefore, do not put your beeper on a strict diet, as this can result in organ damage and death. Avoiding sugar and honey-containing grain mixtures is important, and high-calorie fruit should be avoided. Ideally, an overweight budgie should be offered vegetables, culinary herbs, lettuce, cucumber, and wild herbs. Coxfoot seeds, available online, mixed into the grain feed, have also proven effective. You should also avoid the beloved foxtail millet for a few weeks. Instead, offer catgrass, creeping sedge, organic lettuce, and sprouted seeds. They have a lot of vitamins and nutrients and few calories. Exercise is a very important option, so offer more free flight with interesting landing sites, such as a bird playground or bird tree. A bird that only sits around in a cage not only becomes fat and lazy, it also loses its flight muscles and joie de vivre. But that doesn't mean that you should chase him around the room. An overweight bird can quickly suffer a heart attack when stressed. A balanced diet and plenty of free flight will be good for the beepers. You will feel vital and completely comfortable and reach your ideal level. And let's be honest, a little exercise and discipline doesn't hurt some of us humans either. Bye, and stay healthy.